What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? We are going to be reacting to this article from Bleacher Report, the top landing spots for the NBA's biggest trade deadline targets. This was written by Mandela Namaste. Sorry if I'm butchering their name, but yeah, the link to this article will be in the description below. We're going to be reacting to who they think will be the biggest movers at the 2021 NBA trade deadline, which is coming up this week. It's literally in 4 days, so we're going to see if any big moves will happen. I think the biggest name that will get traded is Victor Oladipo. I don't know if John Collins ends up getting moved. Maybe Aaron Gordon finds a new home, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we'll see Victor Oladipo and then some smaller names at the deadline, but I think it's a guarantee that Oladipo will get traded. So first up, they have Harrison Barnes going to the Memphis Grizzlies. Interesting. Now, I just want to pull up the NBA standings here because the Memphis Grizzlies are not, I believe, a top 10 seed, but I could be completely wrong. So they are actually the 10 seed. They're 19 and 20. They are about a game and a half out of the 8 seed. And this could be a trade that could help them to give them some wing depth. Harrison Barnes, better player than Justice Winslow, better player than Kyle Anderson, probably a better player than Dillon Brooks, at least this year. So this could be a move that could maybe spark the Grizzlies to go to the playoffs and actually, or at least just guarantee themselves making the play-in tournament, because all they need to do is get the 10th seed and then they're chilling and then they can figure it out from there. So I wouldn't be opposed to them going after Harrison Barnes. It's just his contract is annoying, but then again, Memphis really isn't ever in big play to get major free agents where they're going to be spending a lot of money. And yeah, they could probably, I just don't think it would cost them a lot. So maybe it's just a low risk, high reward type of move. Obviously, it doesn't move the needle too much, but it can get them to the next level. And that could just be a guaranteed play-in spot because right behind them, you have the, they do have a 3-game wait on the Thunder. So it's kind of looking like, unless we see a late comeback by the Pelicans in the next couple of weeks, it's probably going to be these top 10 teams, yeah, unless the Pelicans kind of get hot and make a trade at the deadline. Next up, we have John Collins to the Minnesota Timberwolves. It doesn't say, like, what the trade would look like, right? Yeah, because, like, what is Minnesota getting up? Now, I think there's been a rumor that, or just a report that the Hawks will probably match any deal Collins gets in free agency, which it's interesting because the Knicks and the Hawks both drafted big men because they thought they were going to lose big men in the following year, and John Collins with the Hawks and Julius Randle over the Knicks, and then they both emerged to being one an all-star and one a phenomenal number 2, as the Hawks are currently, they are the 5th seed in these, yeah. 2 games over 500, 5th seed, so you might as well not move Collins and go to the first playoff appearance in how many years since at least 2017, I believe. It might be 2016. 2017 or 2016. Yeah, it was 2016, 2017 when Mike Budenholzer was still their head coach. So I don't think that John Collins gets traded, let alone to Minnesota. And who is Minnesota giving up? Like, Collins is going to have some nice trade value. You would probably have to do Culver, Okogie, and probably a future first. But does Atlanta even like that? They might as well just try to move them in a sign and trade in the offseason, maybe get something better than those 2 players that really aren't phenomenal, or at least Culver's not. At least you have Okogie as kind of a situational guy, but we'll see if they maybe throw the farm. Will they give up multiple first-round picks for John Collins? Because they're not going to have a first-round pick either this year or next year, so we'll see. Wayne Ellington to the Miami Heat. I mean, yeah, this is, if Ellington gets traded, now if he doesn't get traded, I think he will get bought out and he'll join a contender. I feel like this always happens with guys like Wayne Ellington throughout the year. I mean, Miami, you can always have enough shooting. I would kind of like to see him on, I don't know, I would probably like to see him in Milwaukee, but I don't think that'll happen. Yeah, he could join the 305 in Miami. Not a huge name, but could be a name on the move. Next up, we have Aaron Gordon to the Dallas Mavericks. I'd like Gordon on the Mavericks, and they could probably, I mean, does Brunson interest Orlando too much? Probably not when they already have Fultz and Cole Anthony. Who else would they particularly want? Josh Richardson to maybe get his bird rights, but then, you would want at least one first-round pick, and maybe Josh Green. Because the Mavericks don't have their first round pick this year, and there's his top 10 protected in 2023 from the KP trade. So do they maybe make a trade for Aaron Gordon and mortgage their future even more when it's already a little bit thin when they gave up those 2 first round picks? And Kristaps Porzingis, he's not having the best year at all, and because he just doesn't stay healthy. I mean, he's been fine numbers wise, he's been good efficiency, but it's just he's played 25 games, and we know this is going to be the staple for his whole career. He will not be playing full 75 game seasons like he did near in his rookie year. So we'll see what happens. I know he played pretty poorly his last couple of games, right? I'm just pretty sure. Unless he had a really nice game. Yeah, his last 2 games have not been all that good, but it's obviously just a little slump for him. But I mean, I don't think they make the trade for Aaron Gordon. I just don't think they have the assets. I mean, like I said, their best offer could be 2024 first, maybe. Or can they do they could do 2022 in the offseason, I think. And then it gets complicated. And then maybe you do a swap in 2024 and Josh Green Does Orlando do that? Maybe. George Hill to the Clippers, I think this is a match made in heaven, but what would they have to give up? Because, like, I'm pretty sure they would have to match the salary, and, like, George Hill's making $7 million a year, so I'm kind of, like, confused what they would have to give up to land George Hill, because are they going to have to give up Patrick Beverley, which they probably don't want to do? They're not going to want to give up Lou Will, so, like, who can make this trade work? It's, like, they're not going to want Kennard. Like, I don't think Patrick Patterson straight up for George Hill could work because of the money. I could be completely wrong, though. Yeah. After move 5.9 mil, so you're gonna have to get to, and it's 9 mil, so that's a lot more than what I thought. So maybe you could do Patrick Patterson and like, Mufandu. Does that even get it close? Like, are they gonna really want to do a 3-for-1? So that doesn't even work. Like, obviously, if you did Zubats and Mufandu, that would work, but they're not gonna want to give up Zubats, and they're not gonna want to give up Blue Will, in my opinion. So yeah, like Reggie Jackson, maybe they throw in Batum, maybe they prefer that, and they'll have to do something like this. This doesn't even get it done. Yeah. He would need another 1.3 mil. So it would be very tough to get the George Hill to the Clippers. I wonder if he mentions it. He does not. So, yeah. I just don't know how they get the money to work. Like, unless they're willing to give up Beverly or Marcus Morris or Luke Kennard, maybe. But do the Thunder want Luke Kennard after that extension? He hasn't really been performing all that well this year. Al Horford to the Celtics. I mean, like, yeah, they could use an Al Horford. I just want to kind of pull up his stats just so I have a basis because I'm not too familiar with what he's been doing. So he's actually been having a pretty solid year, at least numbers-wise. Yeah, definitely his best scoring season since at least 2017. But he's been a good three-point shooter. And I mean, yeah, Boston can use his defensive ability. I just want to kind of see his advanced defensive numbers. They're not too bad, actually. So I don't, like, not a good defensive team. Pretty good. Or not a great defensive team, I should say. But, like, I mean, I guess it's the trade exception, right? Like, how else is Al Horford getting to... Like, how else is he getting to, we can actually just keep the Thunder there. To Boston, like, they obviously have the trade exception. Can I use, actually, yeah. So, like, if we just try that straight up, does it work? Remove 5.4 mil. Okay. So, like, you would have to, like, include, I don't know, like, Tristan Thompson, right? And then maybe, like, a second-round pick. We don't really need to throw in the second back. So, that makes it work. Okay. Maybe, but do the Celtics really want Al Horford back? And he's making how much? Next 2 years, he's got what? A normal, or it's fully guaranteed in 2023. Sheesh. So he has 2 years after this year making major money. I mean, they're already locked up with Kemba, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum. So they might as well just add more money because it's not like they're going to have cap space in free agency. Oladipo to the Pels. Yeah, this is a move that the Pels would like want to. Honestly, the Knicks and Heat have been interested. I don't really like the Knicks idea too much, but the Heat would be fun. But the Heat might be like, all right, unless we're giving up barely anything, because like I do like the Heat idea, but the Heat are like, we could probably just sign them in the offseason. And for the Pelicans, probably the Rockets do have assets that the Pelicans would want. Like if I pulled up the Pelicans here and then the Houston Rockets, like, so they would have to get to 21 mil. Let's see. I don't even know. Like, it would probably do Redick to make the money work or Bledsoe, but I doubt Houston wants, like, Bledsoe. Like, what about just Redick and Lonzo? Like, honestly, this is like the Pelicans, like, don't plan on matching Lonzo. They're viewing JJ Redick as not like, they're not bringing back post this season. So you're basically losing two guys for somebody that you were going to bring back anyway, for somebody you might not be able to re-sign, but you might like Oladipo in your future plans to have Kyra Lewis, Bledsoe, and then you have Oladipo, and then you have Ingram, Zion, and Adams/Hayes going forward. And that's actually something I could get behind because it's not like you're really losing anything. But at this point for the Pelicans and where they're at, I would prefer Lonzo Ball for them. But getting Victor Oladipo, maybe worth it? I don't know. That one's an interesting one. You guys would have to let me know that down below. And then finally, JJ Redick to the 76ers. To be honest, like, I don't think there's many, like, ways this can work. I'm pretty sure it would have to involve Danny Green. I don't know if you can do Mike Scott and Terrence Ferguson, but maybe you can. Because I go to school in Philadelphia. Everybody here is really Sixers fans. I was asking one of my friends, does he like the idea of JJ Redick possibly going back? And would you trade Danny Green and a second for JJ Redick? And he was like, absolutely not. So if we did like, I don't know, like Mike Scott, I'm sure they'd be willing to do Mike Scott and Terrence Ferguson and even Tony Bradley when Embiid comes back. So that does not make it work. The Sixers can only take back 11. Oh, okay. So you can literally do these two players and you can throw in, I'm sure they don't want to throw in anybody there. So like probably Poirier and I don't know. Like, if they're losing Redick for nothing, does this entice anything that the Pelicans want? Maybe a second-round pick. Like, maybe, who knows? Like, this random second-round pick, this could be a potential trade. And they're just getting another shooter, which can, but it's like, they have a lot of, they obviously you need more shooting. The Sixers aren't perfect with shooting. Furkan, inconsistent, though. Seth Curry, great. Tobias Harris, good shooter. Danny Green, he's been somewhat inconsistent this year. And then will Shake Milton step up in the playoffs? Because if we're thinking about it, they're going to go like what? They'll have a 9-10 man rotation for the playoffs. And I just want to see like who would make that and would Redick even work there? So For the playoffs, they would have obviously Embiid, Simmons, Harris, like Seth. Dwight will be in the rotation. Like Maxey, I don't see being in the rotation in the playoffs. Thibault, that's 6, another okay shooter. You would have, did I say Dwight? I believe I said Dwight. Danny Green, and then probably Redick, and then you can kind of mix in Furkan, or Shake will probably make it. Yeah, he'll definitely make it. And then Furkan is 10, and then you could probably roll with that, because I probably prefer Furkan. Yeah, you could roll with Furkan or Maxey, so I could get behind that. I could probably get behind them going for JJ Redick, and if that's the package they're giving up, where it's like really them just losing a second-round pick, and they're also losing players that would not play really major minutes in the playoffs for them because they're trying to win a championship this year. So yeah, that is something I could definitely get behind. Yeah, like I said, like Victor Oladipo's probably going to be the biggest name traded. I don't see John Collins traded, and I don't know if Aaron Gordon will get traded. Harrison Barnes could definitely get traded. George Hill definitely. Wayne Ellington. I doubt Al Horford gets traded because there's very few teams that would go for him. I could see Redick getting traded and maybe Lonzo as well. But yeah, that is going to be for me. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy. Drop a like if you did. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.